Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the Valkyrie Elysium demo that was recently added to the PlayStation Store. In case you don't know what Valkyrie Elysium is, it's yet another one of Square Enix's RPGs that they are releasing here in the fall season. Just another thing to empty your wallet and keep you busy when there's already way too many games coming out. It's releasing on January 29th on the PlayStation 4 and 5, and in November on PC. All of these versions have a 72-hour early access that is available if you pre-order it. The game itself is an action RPG that acts as an addition to the Valkyrie RPG series, one that's been dormant for quite some time, I believe since the PSP era. It's largely known for the Valkyrie profile games, and those games are more known for being classic turn-based RPGs with a heavy focus on a combo system, as well as using saved spirits in order to assist you with those big combos. In other words, an action RPG is a large departure from those more classic titles, but it is attempting to keep several of the same gameplay elements intact. Now mind you, I'm not a Valkyrie profile expert. I don't have any experience with the franchise. I've spent way too much of my time playing something more traditional like Final Fantasy. As such, I am going to be looking into Valkyrie profile after this game, but for this video, I don't have the know-how to really draw too many comparisons. So any comparison you hear me draw is really just me hearing it secondhand. Now that I've given you all the details that you need, overall, I thought the gameplay for this was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I went into it just expecting to feel like, I was expecting it maybe to be a little stiff and not satisfying, but I actually had a decent amount of fun. It's got some solid combos and mix-ups, a decent combination of gameplay mechanics, and some light exploration. None of the progression systems seem too difficult to grasp, and it instead comes down to the player to optimize their combat decisions, and those are the kind of gameplay elements that I like. I will say this though, while I had fun with the gameplay, the graphics of the demo, well, putting it nicely, they definitely look like the cross-generation game that it is. It's actually okay when you're just playing and defeating monsters, but the cutscenes are really awkward. Listen, I'm okay with playing games that don't have incredible graphics. I do it all the time, and some of my favorite games are like 2D games or games from a generation or two ago. But this is not what I would expect for the game's graphic style when it's a full-priced game on current generation consoles. Even if it is available on the PlayStation 4, I wasn't satisfied with how it looked on the PlayStation 5. Now, upon starting the demo, you'll be given a brief background for the story that probably sounds familiar to anyone with basic knowledge of Greek mythology. It then throws you into an incredibly robust tutorial stage. Seriously, this tutorial stage covers absolutely everything without dragging on or getting boring. I was actually really impressed with this. In the tutorial stage, you'll be introduced to some basics such as your weapon combos, your different spells or divine arts as they're called. You have a soul link for gap closing on enemies and maybe hooking to terrain to cover a gap as well. And you'll be managing a number of resources as you combo the heck out of your enemies. Bigger combos means more resources for you to keep comboing. The big thing here is the Einherjar system, which allows you to call saved spirits to aid you in battle for a short time. They have special attacks they'll use to assist you, they'll draw attention from enemies, and even change the elements of your attacks. You can use them to hit elemental weaknesses or just put pressure on your opponents. You can do some pretty nifty things with them when it comes to juggling smaller enemies and keeping your combo meter running. It also explains how to abuse enemy weaknesses. Elemental attacks that trigger a weakness can stun enemies for a short time, and hitting them with an appropriate divine art afterwards can extend the stun, something that's especially useful on bosses. This leaves you with the choice to use attacks to single out and eliminate vulnerable enemies, or crowd control attacks so you can focus on the big fry. Enemies also eat souls of slain allies if you don't get to those souls first, making them much tougher, so managing the battlefield carefully is key to victory. You of course have other RPG staples, equipment, skill trees, and items mostly, but this should all feel almost second nature even if you've never played a Valkyrie game. It just has a different twist on some of the elements that really focuses more on your gameplay decisions, and I like that as someone new to the franchise. Now that tutorial stage covers almost all of that, and still gives you some decent enemy layouts to ensure you get the basics down. However, the tutorial isn't the end of the demo. That doesn't end till you finish Chapter 1. Now, Chapter 1 is a fine mission that showcases some exploration and defines the gameplay loop for different levels, showing you that it's more mission-based and not a constant open world. But I don't have my Einherjars anymore. This ends up causing Chapter 1's mission to feel a bit less satisfying than the tutorial stage, oddly enough, even when you start learning extra combo skills, getting another weapon, and you'll acquire some new divine arts that you didn't have in the tutorial. Those AI allies are just so integral to the gameplay that not having them for a bit, especially after playing with them for, half an hour to 45 minutes, just a really strange decision overall. Now that mission might take you about an hour or more to get through. It is a pretty big map and there are some secrets to find throughout it, especially these little flowers that give you some backstory on the various characters. They're just collectibles for the sake of being collectibles. Take them or leave them. They weren't very interesting in the demo, and it's just sometimes fun to find a flower that went, ah, and that's all it had to contribute. But after you actually finish the mission and beat the boss, you'll have a couple of side quests to complete, and then you're done with the demo. The mission structure is kind of like that of Nioh. The main missions will send you through a map, you might go through a few side areas and pick up some extra loot, and then at the end of it you'll be sent back to a central hub, and then you can choose another mission. I guess technically Nioh didn't have a central hub, but that's besides the point. The sub-missions will then reuse these maps and maybe make you go through them backwards, or maybe open up a new path that you couldn't reach in the main mission, and there'll usually be some remixed enemy packs and of course new items to acquire. I acquired a new divine art here and that was great, but it was still just something simple that just got the job done. And you also have to find the side quests in the mission themselves, so it's another way to reward exploration, but it's nothing special. It's just a very simple format for them to kind of move you throughout the game. I guess the highlight is just that the gameplay itself is fun, but when there are so many games coming out in this season, and this is a full-priced game, I think a lot of people are going to struggle with the decision to pick this up versus just even waiting for something else to come out. It's not that it was bad, but visually it's not very satisfying. The story isn't too captivating yet, although I know some Valkyrie fans who are already doing some big, I guess, theory crafting about how it fits in the story. Is it a reboot? How does it continue from the other ones? And they're super invested in it, and that's really cool. But as someone who isn't inherently like that, I can't make that a positive for this in any way. So the real only thing that I was super into was the gameplay. And I guess that's the most important thing because that's what I'll be spending most of my time doing. But Chapter 1 losing out on the Inheriars definitely put a bit of a dent in that. And even if I like the gameplay, it's just really tough to say, hey, $60, go for it, absolutely. I don't think I can do that in good conscience just yet. I'll need to play the game myself on its full release in order to make any decision like that. I will also say, though, that the music's really good, so that's another positive at least. And also, this game, if you get the digital deluxe version of Valkyrie Elysium on PlayStation 5, it actually comes with Valkyrie Profile Lenneth, which I think is a PvP remake, or PSP remake of the original Valkyrie Profile, and I've heard very good things about that. I've also heard that that deal is not coming to Steam, so I guess that's another thing to consider when purchasing the game, but it is what it is. I think they even said, did they say they would make Lenneth a standalone release? I seem to remember these things. You'd think I'd have written this down before starting the video, but hey, I like a little organic video making once in a while. Either way, fun gameplay, but you'll have to probably keep your eye on it if you're not sure if you want to buy it or not. And that's going to be a wrap for my video on the Valkyrie Elysium demo. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and maybe we'll do something updated once I've played the full release, and I'll let you know if it either gets any better or if the gameplay manages to carry the game throughout the rest despite the graphical infidelity that it has. I don't think that's the right word, but we'll go with it anyway. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.